Good afternoon on what is a cool, grey and cloudy day. It is Monday the 23rd of October. I've got a nice hot cup of tea and a box to unbox. Let's find out what is in here. Okay, almost there. Rattles a fair bit. And what I've got in here are these two things. So I am going to do this one first. This is the Player's Vault. This is the Player's Vault for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 3rd edition. Okay, now this is the edition published by Fantasy Flight Games. Wasn't at the time always best well received. Primarily because as a game design, it had a lot of components. You know, you had a character sheet, and then you had cards for all your actions. Then you had cards for your abilities, and you would actually slot them in to places alongside your character sheet instead of just noting them down, and they could be changed in and out and so on. And the dice were particular to the game; they weren't numbered; they had symbols. So, but the other thing about the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 3rd edition, apart from sort of people going, oh, it's not really a role playing game; it's a board game, and yes, it did look like a board game. But how I look at the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 3rd edition is what was down on the table could be compared to essentially a computer game interface. Okay, it was much more physical than you were used to. Instead of having it written down on a sheet, you had buttons and things to press to sort of and things to change out, so on. So it's a little bit more flexible than you would normally think. You've just got to get physical with it. And the other thing with the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 3rd edition was the fact that from the core box, you could only have 4 players. Okay, and that's 4 players overall. That includes the game master and then 3 players. That was enough to play the game. Okay, so that was the other limitation upon it, which almost like a board game. That limited the number of players, and you needed to buy this in order to expand it up to 4 players plus the game master. So, the Player's Vault. The Player's Vault features important character tools for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, including all key player components from the popular Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay core set. The Player's Vault is perfectly suited to complement the information found in the Player's Guide. The Player's Vault is full of valuable player resources, including 30 careers, 45 talent cards, more than 150 action cards, 5 party sheets, a pad of character sheets. The full punch board colour features more than 30 character stand-ups, as well as stress and fatigue tokens, tracking tokens, stance pieces, activation tokens, and a player needs to manage his character during a session or over the course of a campaign. The Player's Vault makes it even easier to get your players involved in Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and begin their adventures in the grim and perilous old world. So, open up, and what we have inside is this. Oh, we had a bit fall out already, but thankfully, you start off with a flyer for contents for titles from Fantasy Flight Games. I'll just show you those. And so it's a mini catalogue. You've got the Battles of Westeros, a battle lore game, a miniatures combat game on the front for that, and different games advertised there. Some of them connected to Warhammer, some of them connected to Warhammer 40,000. And the thing is, Fantasy Flight Games primarily always has been a board game publisher. It has dabbled in the role-playing games. I mean, and I say dabble, it's actually gone heavily into role-playing games, particularly the Star Wars license, the Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay license. And this is a list of what's in the game. So, full list, description of the contents, and then we get on to individual contents. what do we look at first? So 1 pack of cards, 2 pack of cards, and it's been years since I've looked at this. It has been a very long time. So this, and then we've got this. At the bottom we have some standees, so you can basically die cut. These are die cut. You punch them out, and you've got a little base as well to stand them up in play. So you've got more of those. Then you have pad of character sheet. That's what the character sheet looks like. So you've got, you know, physical and mental characteristics, base skills, specializations. You can all note these all down, but that's the pad of character sheets. And these are all. This is all sort of like not quite near mint, but you. Because you've got these little things have fallen out, but that's fine. That's fine. Let's just put them back in place so that they don't fall out again. Then we have these, and what we've got here. The other thing you would have in the game is you would have a party sheet. So here we go, we've got one here. That is brash young things, and you track your status along there. You know, if it's that's the tension meter, and all party members suffer 1 stress if it's 4 or below, or 4 or low, and if it's 8, all members must suffer. The tension resets to 0. So essentially, as it goes up. Fortune favours the bold. Whenever the party fortune pools is empty everyone fortune, and you've got a reputation and a focus, you would slot into place on that. And the other ones include Servants of Justice, and that's what you get on the back. Gang of Thugs, which is, you know, to be honest, is so often what it's a case of your average Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay party is sort of. What it wants to be, if I just find the right card, is Servants of Justice. What it probably turns out to be, and is looked upon, is a gang of thugs. But perhaps, you know, there's options here for intrepid explorers, swords for hire, which is also the other option. And then we have different kind of career cards, so acolytes, and this would you've got a description on the back, and then you have primary characteristics, career skills, and then the advances it would need to take at each level. And typically there'll be like about 4 levels, I suppose, to a career in each one. Because one of the great features about Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay is that you could have careers. You know, it's and you could change careers. You could progress in your career. So agent, agitator, apprentice wizard. That's the one I have played. Barber surgeon, and all these boatmen, and all of these really, you know, just have a very grim and gritty feel to them of a real world. You know. You're not playing a warrior. You're playing a coachman. You know, you're not playing a thief. You're playing a commoner. And so on. You know, you're not playing a cleric. You're playing a flagellant. It's the options are fantastic in this game, and you know, always have been. Whatever edition you were playing. So in this little pack, see if I can get these out. They've been quite tightly packed in here. is you have things like your faith card, and that will give you special abilities. So on the other side, Morg, Morg. So we have Morg, God of Death and Dreams. Essentially, once per turn you may perform Morg's last right over a dead or dying person within great range to gain a favour. And then it would do one of these each. So for Sigmar, all depending upon the faith of your clerical character. So you've got different ones like that. So that's faith, and then you might look at, you would have ones for order, and your focus, and this will be tying back into that. If I show you back into that section there on the character cards. So your focus might be jack of all trades, in which case you may suffer one stress to add it. Basically, the square there is a white skill die. And the things in the like keen eyes, quick wits, and they are all means of essentially. So, for example, deductive reasoning. Intelligence gains particular symbol, quick die results pulled if at least 3 attack success or attack symbols are rolled. And it's all very much like that, contemplative. I've seen worse, and that's a very typical Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay response. And then tactics. These are all essentially plug-ins. The plug-ins to your character. So lead from the front. In combat, if no enemies have acted yet during the current round, gain 1 skill die to 1 skill check you attempt on your turn. So if you go first, you get an extra die. Exceptional training, combat awareness. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Really highly thematic. I mean, yes, crunchy because essentially you're fiddling around with cards and stuff, but but once you bring it into play, it does begin to come together. And then we have reputation cards, which again, you've got a slot for your focus, you've got a slot for your reputation. Better lucky than good. Shady applies to a lot of Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay groups. Fearless. Notorious. Just strong-willed, and icy stare. Your social actions gain guile again. It's all fantastic. Right, and then these are sort of like action cards, similarly to sort of like special ability cards. Once per session is zealot, you may exhaust an insanity talent to add fortune dice to any check equal to the severity of the insanity, and that will refresh. And these are all particular to the particular careers. So Troll Slayer, 1 on a Slayer career, you cannot wear armour but have a natural defense of 1 and a natural soak value of 1 plus the number of Slayer careers you've completed. So yeah, they're all again. The reputation is I think of Warhammer 3rd edition is better than what it got. All of this is so thematic and so nicely detailed. It rewards you essentially for having those in play and making them part of your character. Hold on, I've missed a couple there. Let's just slide those in. So you get a lot of cards, a lot of bits and pieces in here. And next, we're just going through this. We've got lots and lots of cards in here. to another pack of cards. If I can just get the plastic, just get the plastic to separate at the top. Because it's very nice that they have been placed in bags, but they're a bit tight to get in and get out. So these are kind of abilities and actions, and so let's take a look at say easy, nice one, rapid fire. So ballistic skill versus target offense. Especially if you hit with attack, you may immediately perform this action again, choosing with the same target or a new one, and adding a sort of like another die to your target. If you hit so essentially, and then depending on the number of sort of like Warhammer symbols there, you have special effects. So 1 Warhammer symbol, you hit the target for normal damage. 3, 2 damage, and then opportunities to perform a free maneuver after this action completed. If you roll a skull, one opponent with close range who is not engaged with you may engage with you, and you suffer fatigue. You know, and this is essentially, that's rapid fire. Whilst I think whilst you are kind of, I'm trying to remember that you've got different statuses depending upon where you're up on the status track. So it's not quite so dangerous when it's in the green, but it's more dangerous when it's in the red. So they're all double-sided, and then you've got like sniper shot, thundering shot, and so you choose your character. You can tailor your character very much using these ability cards, which will be sort of like tied up with your particular career types. You're not going to be able to pick these up, just at random. There are general ones you can, but a lot of them are very career specific. Cantrip does multiple different things, and then you might have, for your red wizard, flame blast. Lightning blast. There's different types of wizards and so on. So there's those. And we've got one more pack of cards to go through. As I say, there's a lot of cards in the player's box. There's the final pack, and so, for example, melee strike, and we've just got more of these. So, melee weapon, engaged with target, weapon skill versus target's defense. You roll 1 Warhammer symbol because that's one of the main symbols that success on the dice. You hit the target for normal damage. You roll 3. You hit the target for 2 damage. Opportunities, you perform a maneuver or equals you perform a maneuver for free. You roll 2 skulls. Your target may disengage you from you for free. And it's very similar on the back, but these are sort of like general ones. So you've got 3 melee strikes, and those are going to be the general ones you have in your adventurous pack, essentially, in your adventurous deck, and you would take these ones here, which are more specialist, and they're coming from your careers. So you things like assess the situation, guard a position, to dodge, improve parry, frailty, twin-tailed comet, which is perfect for your Priestess Sigmar, call for aid. All of these you would have in your adventurous deck, and it wasn't a case of you sort of like pulling them out at random. You'd pull out the one you used, you roll the dice against it, you'd summon your dice pool, roll against the card and see what the result is. That's how it worked. And in some ways, it's just sort of like, the thing is, this is a lot of information to write down. You wouldn't write down the symbols, how many symbols you need to do what, because every little card, every little action would be slightly different, or even quite a lot different. So you had to have the cards. And it meant sort of like, instead of sort of like going up and down your character sheet, you'd have to sort of leaf through your cards to find out what do I want to do. So again, giving the game play quite a lot of physicality. So, this then is the Player's Vault for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay 3rd edition, of which I am actually really kind of fond of. I really enjoyed playing this. Brings back memories. I'd love to play this again and play through some more of the content. As I'm a fan of the setting, I'm a fan of the role-playing games based upon it, and this is a really nice game, even though it looked more complex than it really actually was. Anyway, so that was an unboxing of the Player's Vault for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. If you've enjoyed this unboxing and look, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you take the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be able to get more unboxings and where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game, or in this case, a player expansion box for a role-playing game, which I'll unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice little cup of tea. Then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing of Nook. We'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.